This will be for the con exercise magnitude of vectors. So the magnitude is basically the length of the vector. In other words, it's going to be the distance that it travels. So in order to calculate that distance, we're going to be using the Pythagorean Theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, we just have to construct a simple right triangle. And the vector is going to be the hypotenuse. Okay, so the length of the vector will always be c in that equation, the Pythagorean Theorem. So it says find the magnitude of vector u. Enter an exact answer with a square root symbol, or enter an approximate answer as a decimal rounded to the nearest hundredth. That's 2 decimals. Okay, notice it has the double bars on either side of the u, indicating that it's magnitude, so just the length and not the direction. So here we just need to construct a simple right triangle. Okay, you can draw straight lines if you want, or count the units. Alright, so I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's 7 units. We don't have to write -7. Okay, the side length of a triangle is always going to be positive. So don't worry about negatives or anything like that. Just keep it positive. That's 7, and then going to the right we have 1, 2. So that's 2 units. Okay, so this is basically a right triangle. And the right angle is right here. Okay, and across from the right angle is always the hypotenuse. So that's what we're solving for. A and B, it doesn't matter which is which, but across from the right angle, that's always going to be side length C. Alright, so we're using Pythagorean Theorem. I'll let A equal 7 and B equal 2. Like I said, A and B doesn't matter. So since A is 7, A squared is 7 squared. B is 2, that's going to be 2 squared. Okay, we have 7 squared, 49. 2 squared is 4. And 49 plus 4 is 53. Okay, solving for C, the opposite of squaring something is to take the square root. So C squared, the square root of that is just C. Final answer. Okay, so I think the square roots, they want you to simplify, but I know that 53, that can't be broken up at all. Okay, 53 is a prime number. 3 does not go into 53, so that's it. Square root of 53 is your final answer. Alright, so click inside the box. Here's the square root symbol. Click on that and just type 53. Okay, here it says vector u has an initial point 3, 7 and a terminal point 4, 3. Find the magnitude of u. Okay, now we can draw this on the graph if we wanted to, but we don't have to. All we have to do is find out how far the vector travels in the x direction, how far it travels in the y direction, and then use Pythagorean theorem to find the length of that vector. So we don't even have to worry about which side is the initial side and which is the terminal side. We just need to find lengths here. Okay, they're all going to be positive. So for the x coordinates, we have a 4 and we have a 3. So we can do 3 minus 4 and get -1, or we can just do 4 minus 3 and get +1. It's the same thing. Okay, so it traveled 1 unit in the x direction. So for the x part of the triangle, I'm going to write a 1. And now, for the y coordinates, we have a 7 and we have a 3. Okay, we can do 3 minus 7 and get a negative, or we can just do 7 minus 3. and that equals 4. So it traveled 4 units in the y direction. Okay, if you get a negative, just make it positive because we're dealing with side lengths of a triangle. All right, and now we have our right triangle. And the hypotenuse across from the right angle is always going to be C. All right, so Pythagorean Theorem. And it doesn't matter which side is A or B. I'm going to let A equal 4, and I'm going to let B equal 1. So A squared is going to be 4 squared. B squared is going to be 1 squared. And that equals C squared. Okay, 4 squared is 16. 1 squared is 1. 16 plus 1 is 17. And that equals C squared. Opposite of squared is square root. So do that to both sides. Square root of C squared is just C. Final answer. Okay, 17 is a prime. I can't break it up, so I can't simplify that. I'm just going to leave it. Click in the box. Look for your square root symbol, click on that, and type 17. Alright, one more. The components of vector u are -3 and +6. They want us to find the magnitude of u. Okay, so this is not a point. This is not coordinates. Okay, this is the components of u. So -3 on the x, that means the vector went left 3 units, okay, because x is left, right. And the +6 means that it went up 6 units, okay. Now, does the direction matter? No, because we're just looking at magnitude, okay. We're not worried about direction here, so we just want to find the length. So as always, we're just going to construct a little right triangle. All right, and I'll make the vector here in black. All right, and this is going to be a right angle. So we went left 3. So do we have to write -3 for the x? No. Okay, side lengths of a triangle are positive, so it's going to be a +3. And it went up 6. So for the y, that's going to be a 6. All right. Pythagorean Theorem. Across from your right angle is C. That's going to be the length of the vector. A and B, it doesn't matter. So I'll let A equal 6. I'll let B equal 3. A squared is going to be 6 squared. B squared is going to be 3 squared. And that equals C squared. Okay, we have 36 plus 9. That's going to be 45. And that equals C squared. Solving for C, we take the square root of both sides. Square root of C squared is just C. Now, I don't think they will let us enter radical 45. Okay? Because that is not simplified. Let me just try and see. So click in the box, click the square root symbol, and I'm going to type radical 45. Let's see. Okay, it does take it. All right, I'm surprised. I thought they would make us simplify it. So I guess we don't have to simplify the square roots if you want to leave it as such.